What I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle. But like a flame that burns a candle feeds the flame. Yeah, yeah, what I got, full stop.
Welcome back. I'm Marion Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. There's some really interesting and a little scary information coming out of a study done in the UK that says that babies who aren't exposed to common microbes during their first year of life could be more likely to develop the most common form of childhood cancer. And this is according to a landmark paper. Professor Mel Greaves of the Institute of Cancer Research in London studied over 3 decades worth of research to conclude that acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, is most likely caused by infections. Leukemia is overall a rare disease, but accounts for 1/3 of all cases of childhood cancer in developed societies. Currently, around 90% of children recover from the disease thanks to chemotherapy. In what Professor Greaves has dubbed the delayed infection theory, he suggests that all cancer, which is all is the cancer, can be triggered in 2 steps. First, a child is born with a genetic mutation which could cause leukemia in less than 1% of those carrying it. Then, exposure to one or more common viruses and bacteria prompts it to develop in the body. According to Professor Greaves, if a baby does not come into contact with common infections in the first year of life, their immune system may not be primed to fight the cancer, he argued. Other forms of childhood cancer, however, are caused in different ways. Children who have the genetic mutation and spend their first year in a clean, modern home away from other infants and older children are most at risk. That can explain why it is most common in wealthier societies and is growing at a rate of 1% a year. It is therefore likely a preventable cancer, which is, wow. Everyday activities such as breastfeeding and sending children to daycare centers where they come into close contact with others could be enough to prime a child's immune system. Making sure the body is confronted with and fights off infections could stave off the development of autoimmune disorders such as type 1 diabetes as well as allergies.
Wow. So they also were able to exclude a couple things. So it says the study was published in the Journal of Nature Review Cancers and also rejected the idea that all is caused by environmental factors like electromagnetic waves, ionizing radiation, or man-made chemicals. And that's interesting to me because you always hear these things about those sorts of triggers, right?
Yes.
So
because, I mean, if you're looking at, because it's really been, increased in, the diagnoses have increased in our modern society. And so you look at what has changed in modern society versus, historical societies, and electricity is one of them, cell phones, all the pervasiveness of household chemicals and that sort of thing. But really, and I've wondered about this because autoimmune diseases have exploded. Mm-hmm. And so, that's the immune system attacking some part of your body. With lupus, it could be the brain or the kidneys or the heart, among other things. Rheumatoid arthritis, it's the joints. And there's, sarcoidosis is the lungs. Anyway, so it's interesting that
clean living
is impacting us in that way.
That is fascinating, right? Good thing we let those kids play out in the dirt.
Well, and I'm thinking our daughter ate dirt and rocks and leaves when she was little, and we would, we'd obviously, if we see her doing it, we would stop her, but, perhaps that was really a good thing.
Right? It's like, okay, kid, that's awesome. You're awesome.
But what it reminds me of was when, when we were kids and somebody would get the chicken pox and everybody would bring their babies over, or not little tiny babies, but their toddlers and older children over so they get exposed to the chicken pox. Right? Yeah, and everybody then has it at the same time, and you go on with your life.
Yeah.
Now there's a vaccine. At the time there wasn't, so that you could build up that immunity.
Yep. Get it done while you're young.
So you picked the last one, Tobin.
Okay. So Jillian Michaels from the that fitness show that we all love.
She's kind of scary.
She's a little scary.
She's kind of really scary.
Well, apparently she is now discouraging fans from doing the keto diet. Now, we've both done this diet before. We know people that are doing it now.
It's the high-fat, low-carb.
Yes. So this is like the all-meat diet, right? Like you're walking around with like beef jerky in your hand all day. But she says you shouldn't buy into the hype from this diet. She did a recent interview with People TV. She shared her strong opinion that the keto diet isn't for most people and called it a diet fad. The reason that keto has been getting so much attention is because it helps significantly to manage your insulin levels. Very high insulin is a very bad thing, she explained. Because of this, keto works well for people who struggle with high insulin levels, especially those with polycystic ovary syndrome or type 2 diabetes and infertility. But it's not appropriate for most people, she said. If you're not eating a bunch of processed carbs and processed sugar, and you're not eating too much food in general, you won't have insulin levels that are going through the roof, she explained. While the keto diet embraces healthy fats, it severely limits carbs and moderately limits protein.
This is the diet that says that it's bad to eat fruit. It's bad to eat any starchy vegetable, so corn, peas, carrots. They really are severely limiting in what you're allowed to eat.
Yep. When you're not eating one of those micronutrients, you're quite literally starving your cells and disabling them from functioning in their proper way, she said. Adding that high-fat diets like keto, which has been touted by celebrities like Halle Berry, who has diabetes, and Kourtney Kardashian, may also accelerate aging by increasing the rate at which telomeres shorten.
And telomeres are those things at the end of the gene, of the DNA, right?
Yeah.
And the longer the telomere, the longer you live, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said those who approach the high-fat diet with the mindset that they can eat whatever in any quantity are making a huge mistake. Calorie management and calorie restriction is less oxidative stress, so it's far better for aging and better health and being healthier, she said. It gives your body more energy to focus on immunity and a host of other things that keep you healthy and strong for a really long time. So, it's almost too good to be true, right? Oh, eat as much as you want of these things and you're fine. And
but it's really hard on your kidneys.
Yeah. So for me, when I did this diet years ago, this is when I really began to have some very serious health problems. It's when my blood pressure went shooting up. It's when I began to have my kidney stone issues. All that stuff was sort of tied into me trying that diet, and I so regret it. And I've never really fully recovered. I mean, I've still got issues. And I think it triggered something in me.
Now, if you have out-of-control diabetes, I don't think, she's saying it's not necessarily a bad thing for you. It's kind of your body chemistry, it works differently when you are in that situation than when you're not. But we have friends who have a friend who has got had out of control diabetes, no matter what he did. I mean, he was very active. He ate exactly what the American Dietetics Association, or whatever it's called, told him to eat, and he could not, and didn't help. It was taking insulin, so he switched to the Mediterranean diet, and it has worked wonders.
Yeah.
He feels so much better, and he's even more active than he was, and he's like super active.
One of the fascinating things for me is I think that each one of us is sort of very genetically different, and you can't make too many broad generalizations about diet and medicine as well. And I think we're going to see that science is going to get a lot more specific for particular types of people. They'll begin by putting us into classifications. If you're this type, this is the diet, this is what'll work best for you.
Yeah. I really wonder what the long-term effects of the keto diet are on the liver.
Yeah.
Because the what it means is that glycogen that your liver produces when you don't have any sugar or carbs to burn.
Yeah.
What is having to be an overload on that? What does that do to the liver? I don't know. So with that, we're at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Have a great day, everyone.
Loving you isn't the right thing to do. How can I ever change?
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5.